Sometimes you got to do something strange for a little bit of change. But this show is free. This week we're talking about Hustlers on the Everyman Movie Review. So I like to say I have lived the lives of three men. Whether or not that's true, who knows? I guess it depends which three men you're talking about, because some of those guys might lead really boring lives, and yeah, definitely. But Leo DiCaprio, he's lived like 9 lives of one of mine. But I say all that to say, I really took a lot from the movie Hustlers to heart. Those of you who know me know that I'm very familiar with the subject matter when it comes to the movie Hustlers. Not only do I work with Jennifer Lopez's camp in my current day job, but let's just say in her night job in the movie, I'm familiar with a lot of the themes. Nonetheless, I think that I really appreciate it because I have been kind of behind the scenes. I've seen a lot of things. I've experienced a lot of it, and I appreciate the accuracy that came with the movie. I appreciate just the entertainment value. And I know some of you are sitting there saying, hey, it's a movie about strippers. Of course, Rob loved it. Yeah, listen, I'm not even a huge strip club guy. I know those guys. I think those guys are annoying. It's an art form. And I truly think that pole dancing, whether it's in a class or like a yoga thing or in a club, is an art form. And when you dedicate yourself to it and you show that you really, really want it, people can appreciate it. And here we had a bunch of actresses who learned to do it so that they could play a part of someone who did it for a living, who was clearly passionate about it. And I think that just like doubles up on how much you can enjoy it, because it's artists doing something that they love, portraying someone who's doing something that they love. And I just think that like little double level of it, that inception of it, I think it really adds something to the story and to the movie as a whole. Now, I will say that I found one very glaring, very large flaw with the movie Hustlers. And that is, if it wasn't Jennifer Lopez and Constance Wu, I think that there probably would have been a more truthful telling of the story. Now, I can't remember as I sit here, it's been a few weeks since I saw it, whether or not it's based on a true story or if this is like an amalgamation of a bunch of different stories. I want to say that this is based on a true story that a reporter wrote about a group of women. And I would bet you that while this movie PG-13 to R rating, the real story is clearly going to be NC-17 to X. I think that the difficulty you have when you have Jennifer Lopez as one of the actresses and Constance Wu as another one is that you're never going to actually see how crazy the reality of that could have been. You find 2 up-and-comers who are willing to maybe push boundaries a little bit. Now, I'm not talking about Brown Bunny or anything like that, but people who are willing to maybe not even show a little more, because it was all very tasteful, and I don't think I would have wanted more gratuitous nudity at all. You know that they didn't take some of the risks that they could have taken. Every guy who was near the stage had been clearly vetted by everyone. And not that I don't want the extras to be clearly vetted, but that's just, I think, a sentiment that shows that there was a line and they were not going to go across that line. This is Jennifer Lopez. She's an institution. That's Constance Wu. She is an up-and-coming actress. We cannot put them at risk at all. We can't put not only their safety, which is obviously clearly not a question. It should never be a question. But we can't put their reputation at risk. That, I think, is where we missed out just a little bit. 2 unknowns who are really looking to prove something would have dove into these characters and probably given them a little bit more realism. They would have maybe not edited out or acted in a certain way because they didn't want someone to confuse this on-screen persona with the real person. Americans are dumb, and we have a habit of doing that, confusing reality with what we see on TV or in the movies, which is not always the same thing. But absent that one problem that I had with it, I think that overall it is a very well-rounded movie. It is a very well-rounded 90 to 110-minute movie. Problem is that the runtime of this is over 2 hours, and I just did feel that as we were kind of pushing through the second half of the second act, it just started to drag a bit. Yes, they were covering more time, so they were jumping a bit more rather than kind of having it fluid the way it is at the beginning of the movie. And you know, maybe that's okay. Maybe that's a problem. Maybe it's not. I don't know. I would have preferred them to if they're going to make it that long, to go in depth a little more on each of the moments. If not, let's just jump cut a little bit more and just show how crazy it was in between those times. And they did, and they kind of took the worst of both worlds in that and made it longer than it had to be, but didn't actually dive in on any detail on some of the stuff that I feel like they could have. I think it is an excellent representation of a field that not a lot of people know about. We're not all still Puritan. The country itself is very puritanical. And all of this stuff is kind of what happens in the shadows. Honestly, it's a lot like filmmaking in that way, that like the ones who are pushing the boundaries, they're the ones you don't see on the billboards. They're the ones who are, off in the shadows shooting something new and different. And sex work, and some people may find offensive that I use that term, but I just think that all of this, first of all, we shouldn't criminalize sex work. We shouldn't, stigmatize sex work. Any of those things. It's, as long as somebody's making a free choice, it's, I don't want to get too political on it, but I feel like there's too much of that already. Leave that at home. If somebody's making a choice to do something and they're happy with it and they're making a living doing it and they're not being forced to do it, then let somebody do what they want. And why are we putting our puritanical values on? Nonetheless, I see a lot of similarities between the characters here and kind of like being an up-and-coming filmmaker and wanting to push those boundaries. And then when you run out of runway and you have to kind of cross the line a little bit, how far are you willing to go to keep that dream alive? I am not willing to go that far. I wasn't here very long before I gave up and got a day job because I needed to, have a steady paycheck and I needed to find something I could invest myself in, and I did. I'm still here. I'm still producing stuff, and I'm still writing, and we're still working here together. We're here right now. But I'm not Corey, the other half of the Oh the Anthem podcast. We get together and do a podcast every single week. We record Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Sometime new episodes are always up on Tuesday, and we have that regular practice. And then I have my regular job that I go to Monday to Friday, sometimes Saturday and Sunday. But Corey, he really just dove in and said, you know what, I'm going to make this working in the industry thing happen. Journeyman anything at first, now sound guy. Journeyman sound guy. Now he's basically a master sound guy, and he has people working under him as well. And he really embraced it. And I think that he is the Jennifer Lopez of filmmaking. He is the Jennifer Lopez's character of filmmaking, where he just dove in and said, I'm going to make this work no matter what. I'm not going back to that other life, even though in the end maybe he'll have to, just like she had to. I almost skipped over all of the pleasantries, but let's jump in and do those right now. This was directed by Lorene Scafaria. It's based on a magazine article written by Jessica Pressler and adapted to a screenplay by Lorene Scafaria. As I said, it's starring Jennifer Lopez and Constance Wu, and they're joined by Elizabeth Stiles. And where have you been, Elizabeth Stiles? I feel like I haven't seen you in a decade. And there is a great supporting cast, including Keke Palmer and Lily Reinhart, and some special guest appearances. G-Eazy shows up, Cardi B shows up, and I think it's just, that's the kind of movie that I really enjoy, where they are taking it very seriously in some aspects, and they are completely not taking it seriously in others. There was something great about being in the theater and watching that movie. Now, again, Corey went by himself to a showing of that movie, and I don't know that I would be brave enough to do that, because I think that anyone walking in would see a guy sitting by themselves and just assume, all the worst things. And whether or not, I was there for that reason, I don't like the baggage that comes with. But I went with some people and we went and saw it, and I really enjoyed it. Like I said, it dragged a little bit, and maybe they didn't push boundaries the way that they could have, but I got lost in the story, and I haven't read the article that it's based on by Jessica Pressler, so I didn't know how it ended. And it's got a little bit of everything that you like. It's got a little bit of excess and the everything about New York and Wall Street that we love to hate, and it's got them getting their comeuppance, and how can you ask for anything more than that? But then on top of that, it's also got the way that as much as we cheer for all those things, there is an impact. There is an impact on people that we maybe don't see because they're not as public. And when someone's back against the wall, what are they going to do? And it's really weird because it brought up these weird feelings of like, yeah, that's right, you don't deserve any of that, you get that, but then you don't realize that there's all this collateral damage. It's hard to think about that sometimes. But this movie really does a great job of kind of working in that social consciousness and the collateral damage of what we do to our country, what it looks like we're going through again. I can't speak for that time because I wasn't really in the space at that time. I was just about to go to law school, I think, when this movie was coming out. Although, I may have been around, my 21st birthday would have been 2003. Yeah, right about the start of when this period started, I would turn 21, which was obviously the first time that I went to a strip club. And I don't think I went to this place. I think it's a fictional place. But when you're a guy and you have some of these memories, when you're not like a huge, like I go every weekend, but you go for like weird special events or just like on a lark, I think that you're really going to enjoy this because it kind of gives you a little peek behind the curtain. You get to see some things that maybe you haven't seen or thought about before. And I know it's kind of cliche, and you know, I am hearing myself say it. I'm thinking about saying it, and you know, I hate the way that it sounds, but it is a strongly female cast of strong women, and there's just something that is really fantastic about that. We don't get that enough. I was semi-excited for the movie The Kitchen because I thought it was going to be that, but the closer we got and the more I saw about it, I ended up not even going to see it. It was in one of those few weeks that I just didn't see a lot of movies, and then it was like there and then it was gone. And I'll watch it on streaming most likely, but you know, it just kind of failed in that test of like strong women being strong. And I think Hustlers is that. It's a tale of people who don't know how strong they are until they're tested, and then they prove that they are exactly as strong as we believe they are, even if they don't know it yet. So, you know, if you like that kind of uplifting movie, it's like a Ferrero Rocher. It is it's like this thing that you can't see and you're not going to expect, wrapped in something completely different and then made really fancy and shiny on the outside. Hustlers, just like a Ferrero Rocher. There's a tagline if I ever come up with one. Marketing genius, right here. But you know, it's probably most likely out of the theaters for most of the people who are going to be watching this. You may be able to catch a rare show somewhere, but it will be coming to streaming very soon. So you have your opportunity to catch it on HBO Go or Netflix or anywhere else that fine movies are streamed. And I would recommend it. If you can see it in the movie, do. There's just like a lot of like color and light and like darkness that's really well used. And I just love the experience of being in a theater and having that joint experience all together of a movie like this. But if it's just you and your friends or just you by yourself watching a streaming, it's worthwhile to check out. You're not going to regret the 2 hours that you spend watching Hustlers. And I think you come out of it just, one, knowing a little bit more about this period of time and maybe some stuff that hid in the shadows that we didn't really even know about. You'll learn something new about a bunch of people and how they live and how crazy that it can be for them. And, again, if you can get lost in a world, for me, that is everything. It's just about turning the brain off and enjoying something, and Hustlers does that. So Hustlers gets a thumbs up. Check it out. Totally worthwhile. And, I love Jennifer Lopez. I love Constance Wu. And for the most part, I would see anything that they're in. I remember Jennifer Lopez from like 97 in Anaconda. Yeah, I fell in love with her then. Yeah, it's crazy to see her now and see how she looks basically the same. And Constance Wu going from like the mousy housewife in Fresh Off the Boat to this character is an insane transition. It just tells you how talented these actresses are, that they have that kind of range. And that for Jennifer Lopez's case, she has that kind of longevity. She's really doing it. So don't miss out. Go check out Hustlers. I mean, there are worse ways that you could spend a night rather than streaming or going to the movies and seeing Hustlers. You could go to an actual strip club and waste a lot of money, way more than your ticket costs. And, have an experience, but I bet it won't be as good as you checking out this movie. Well, there you have it. Another episode of Everyman Movie Reviews in the books. Off the top now, I just want to make sure I say a big thank you to my Patreons. I want to say a big thank you to my patrons. I could not do this without all of you. The cameras, the mics, the lights, the internet, the website, everything. You guys help support me so I can continue to make the things that you enjoy. And if you, maybe want to support the podcast a little bit, maybe you want to, throw a few ducats in the cup just to help me get some new equipment or keep everything going, you can become a patron just like them. They get early access to everything. They get shout outs just like this, acknowledgments in the book, copies of the book, basically anything I produce, they are the first. And of course they get exclusive content that no one else is going to get. Like I've been considering the unedited audio and sending it to them because, oh boy, am I funny in between the takes. Maybe funny is not the right word. I'm something. Sad. Maybe sad's the word. But nonetheless, they're going to be the only ones who get to see it. Only over at patreon.com/Robert N. Cheek. That's patreon.com Robert N. Cheek. So for as little as $1 a month, you can help support me. You get access to a whole slew of great new material. And, why wouldn't you want to check that out? And if you do want more of me, you can, of course, find me on all your social media networks at Robert N. Cheek. That's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Tumblr, Snapchat, everywhere, at Robert N. Cheek. Everywhere except YouTube, where you're going to find me at youtube.com/RobCheek. You're probably watching the video live right now. If you are, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like, comment, let everybody know what you think. Don't forget, this show is now available as a podcast as well. You can find that at anchor.fm/Everyman Movie Reviews. Hey, and while you're over there, add another slash and message there, and you can leave a voicemail for me. And with your permission, I'll add that to an episode of the podcast. I'll give you some commentary back and forth, and we can have an open discussion. You can be part of the show, and isn't that really the goal, to be a participant, just not a watcher? I'm working on a lot of new exciting stuff. I shot some of the intros for a new project that's going to be coming very soon, just tonight. So make sure you keep an eye out for that. You're not going to want to miss it. Hit that subscription bell on YouTube because new videos are going to go up there every single time. Make sure you're subscribing for everything, though. Podcast, wherever you find podcasts are casted, and on YouTube. And go on over to the website, robertncheek.com. You can find links to everything, all of this, including my books, which are available on Amazon, and the OD Anthem podcast. If you just can't get enough of me, I got more for you. Corey and I, we record a new podcast every single week. We talk about news, we talk about sports, we talk about politics, and of course we talk about Baltimore and LA, the two cities that I love, that mean so much to me. And you're going to find that new episodes every Tuesday at odanthem.com/podcast or odanthem on YouTube. New episodes of this show are of course coming out every single Thursday. I'm actually trying to get 2 episodes per week now, so you might catch 2 episodes on Thursday and then sometime in between. If you're subscribed, you're going to get those automatically, so you're not even going to have to go look for them. If not, you can find them on the social media. I already gave you that information already. Well, I'll tell you what, it's been the end of a very long week. I'm super excited that I've gotten to share so much with you tonight, and I'm looking forward to the next time that we get to chat. But until then, take care of yourselves, and please have a great week, everybody.